everyone. In today's video we're going to be looking at two relatively new products, the Sizzix Stencil and Stamp Tool and the Ulti-Mate multi-tool by Lisa Horton. These are both essentially stenciling tools, however they both have quite a lot of other features, and although they both essentially do the same thing, they work in slightly different ways. So I thought it'd be really useful to do a bit of a comparison and show you the features of both. The reason I thought it would be a good idea to do a comparison video is a few years back I did something similar. Back when stamp platforms were a relatively new thing, especially here in the UK, the Misty was kind of the first one. I mean, there were other variations before that, but essentially the Misty was kind of the first of the kind of tool that we're used to today. But in the UK it was really expensive and quite hard to get hold of the Misties because they're manufactured in the States. So at that point there were a few alternatives in the UK made by UK companies. So I did a comparison video sort of showing a comparison of all of them and the features that, you know, the different features they had. That video was really popular, and actually even today it's one of my most viewed videos. So I thought, we're in the same situation again. We've got stencil tools. It's a relatively new idea. We've got two different versions. I'm going to run through and show you the differences. Before I get into showing you the tools themselves, I need to give you a bit of a disclaimer, because if you're new to my YouTube channel and you don't know anything about me, I need to give you that background, because you certainly couldn't say I'm unbiased about either of these products. I work in the UK for Sizzix as a freelance designer. I go on Create and Craft TV regularly, demonstrating their products. So I'm certainly not unbiased when it comes to Sizzix products. I love Sizzix products and I love this tool. Lisa Horton is someone who I've known for years. She's a really good friend. So you could equally say I'm not unbiased about her tool. But that's not what this video is about. I need to mention that just because, you know, I have to be upfront about the work I do. But this video isn't about saying one of these is better than the other, because hand on heart, I think they're both fabulous tools. What this video is about is showing you how they differ, how they both do the different tasks that you're going to want them to do, and then it's up to you to choose which you prefer, because it slightly varies. It'll make more sense as I get into the look through the features, but although they both do the same thing, the features are slightly different and the look of them is slightly different. Saying all of that, if you were to choose one or the other, you're not limited to only using products that work with that. There's a certain amount of interchangeability between the two. For instance, the sticky grids that you use in the Sizzix tool, you could pop those into Lisa's tool as well if you prefer a sticky grid to the silicone mat that comes with Lisa's. So you're not limiting yourself by choosing one or the other. A lot of the things that work with them can be used in either. So let me switch my camera around, because all of that will make much more sense when we look up close at these. So let's start with what you get in the box, and we'll look at the Sizzix platform first. So with the Sizzix tool, I've kind of put mine together. When it comes in the box, you will have your stencil tool. This is the stencil adapter piece, and then you will have one sticky grid, which is double-sided, and you pop it onto the plastic of your tool. You can buy these separately in a pack of 5. So once you've got to the point, this will lose its tack eventually, and this is what holds your project in place so that you can bring in your layers of stenciling without your project moving. So it's basically a tacky grid, and as I say, you get one included with your tool. You peel off the backing, stick it on, and then there's another piece that goes on top. I would recommend keeping this piece that goes on top because it's going to extend the life of your sticky grid, because when not in use you can pop that back on and help preserve the stickiness of this. So that's the first thing you get. You've got your insert and you get a full set of instructions. So that's what comes with the Sizzix tool. So let's move that to one side. With Lisa's, it comes in a box. You get a carry case with Lisa's, and you get a blending brush, an ink blending brush, which is great for using with the stencils. The carry pouch, you can put your tool in there, and then you've got another pouch for putting extra stencils and things in. So that's a nice touch. So that's the carry case. Then you get the tool itself. On the back you'll find you've got 2 magnets stuck to the back. Both tools have got the same backing in that it's got like a cushion, which just helps with your stamping. Then with Lisa's, you've got 2 inserts. You've got a foam insert. This is for when you were using it as a stamp tool, so we'll get to this later. But in terms of a stencil tool, with the Sizzix one you've got that removable piece for your stencils. With Lisa's you've got the pegs sort of as part of the base. With the Sizzix platform you've got your sticky grid to hold your project in place. With Lisa's it comes with a silicone mat. Then you've got 2 magnets as well. So with Lisa's you would put your project, your cardstock on the silicone mat. Obviously a silicone mat isn't as tacky as the sticky grid, but it will stop your project sliding about. And then if you want to, you could also add magnets to secure it. I'll get to the stencil separately. So that's essentially what you get in the box. So let's start with how they work. The Sizzix platform, the lid is removable. So this hinged piece comes away. So we're going to start with the stenciling aspect of things. So for stenciling, with the Sizzix tool, I would take off the release paper. Let's grab a couple of bits of card actually. So I've got 2 pieces of card. Hopefully I can fit both of these in once. So with the Sizzix tool, my stencil is going to fit on these pegs. I can choose where on the page I want to do my stenciling. So say I can line up my cardstock with one of the lines. Let's pop it there. Then I can choose. My stencil's going to be attached to here. So I can have my stenciling right at the top of this card, slightly down. I can also move sideways with this if I wanted to just do a bit of stenciling, say down the side of something. So you've got a certain amount of flexibility with the Sizzix tool as to where you place your stencil. With Lisa's, my stencil's going to slot over these pegs, so I would just be placing my card where I want it. It's not going to slide on this silicone mat, and then if I want to, I can add a little bit more security with a couple of magnets. So for both of those, my project's in place, ready to go. Let's show you the stencils. Let's grab one of each. So this is the Sizzix stencil set, and this is one of Lisa's. So let's open Lisa's first. And then this is the Sizzix set. So this is a lovely bird. So Lisa's typically have 5 layers. The Sizzix sets have 4. Now, obviously, I have no idea what plans are in place with both companies as to what they might be bringing out in the future. The sets I've got for now, there are 4 layers to the Sizzix, 5 to Lisa's. Both, same principle, they've both got holes in the top where they slip slot onto, in the Sizzix case, onto this tool, and in Lisa's case they slot onto those pegs. Both companies have got the number etched onto the stencil so you can see which layer you're on. So let's take layer 1 from the Sizzix one. I would just pop it straight on there. If I felt that needed to go up a bit, I can move it like so, and then I'm ready to go. With Lisa's, let's take stencil 1, pop that on like so, and it just slots straight over those pegs like so. So that's how you would stencil. You can turn Lisa's whichever way you want to. I would be tempted to sort of turn it on its side like so, just so that the lid's not in the way. With the Sizzix one, the lid comes straight off. So both the same. So now I can ink my stencil, take it off, move on to the next layer, and repeat the process until I've done all of my stenciling. There we go. I'm not going to get into actually stenciling in this video. I will do a separate video on each of these with one of these stencil sets from start to finish and make a card so you can see how they work. So that's the first thing. That is how you stencil. And that's how you stencil using the stencils from each company. So next, how would you use stencils from another company with each of these tools? They've both companies have got a solution to this. They're different solutions. So I'm going to explain how they work. So for Sizzix, if you want to use a stencil by another company, you can buy a pack of 10 adapters. The adapter has an adhesive strip on it. It's got 2 holes that fit over. Actually, let's move this down one just so it's a bit more stable. These pegs, the holes fit over the pegs. Then you've got an adhesive strip here. So say I want to use, let's grab some stencils. Right, I've got a pack here of stencils. I've already done one with Lisa's. So this stencil from Funky Fossil, if I want to use this with my Sizzix tool, I would just peel off the adhesive here and stick that on. Then let's do it. You just grab a pokey tool. So I would peel off the adhesive strip, pop this on to the border. Now different company stamps have different borders. Some of mine have got a really, let me grab one that I just did another video with actually. You will find with some companies you've only got a very narrow gap. You can move the adapter so that it doesn't cover any of the areas you want to stencil. These are also reusable if you want to. You can peel this off and then you would put the adhesive strip back on it. Totally up to you. You do get a pack of 10, so personally I would probably be tempted to just pop these on all my stencils and just store them like that so they're ready to use, but that's up to you. So that is how you would use stencils from another company with the Sizzix tool. Lisa has come up with a solution. She's come up with a die that cuts the holes for you. So this die has holes that coordinate with the peg system, and I've already done this one just to save bringing my machine in. But you basically would tape this with a bit of masking tape to the top of your stencil, run it through, and it's going to put holes in your stencil. So then you would use the peg system like so, and you're good to go. So both have got a solution for it. They're different, but fabulous. Now, what about if you wanted to use the Sizzix stencils that have already got holes in with Lisa's platform? That's easy as well, because if you look at the Sizzix stencils, there's an etched, it might not show very well on camera, but around the design there's an etched area and there's a border, and at the bottom the border is wide enough, in fact it's almost the exact same width as Lisa's die, so you could just cut holes in the bottom of all your Sizzix stencils so that you would line them up and pop them onto Lisa's, because obviously it doesn't matter if it's upside down in your tool, you can swivel it around and work the other way. So if you want to use Sizzix stencils in Lisa's tool, you can do that. So how about if you want to use Lisa's stencils in the Sizzix tool? They're going to need to fit this. That again is really simple, because of course the adapters are going to work. So all I would need to do is stick one of my adapters. You could either go over, you know, if you've only got the Sizzix tool, it doesn't matter. You could go over, or you could pick a side and stick the adapter on. Use your grid to line it up to make sure with each layer you're doing the same, but you could just stick that on there and then use this with this system. So you're not limited. If you buy Lisa's platform and you want to use the Sizzix stencils in, you can use the die. If you want to use Lisa's stencils in the Sizzix platform, then all you need to do is use the adapters. So they're very interchangeable. And again, if you're using other companies, if you're using the Sizzix, you'd use the adapters. If you're using Lisa's, you would just put your holes in. So totally interchangeable. So that's for stenciling. Let's talk about how both of these work for stamping. So for the Sizzix, you would take out your stencil parts. Then you have a hinged lid. It's got a grid engraved on it. You want to have, you can feel the grid on one side, the other side is totally smooth. And it just slots in. There's no hinge as such, it just slots in. And you want to have the rough side on top. Your stamps are going to cling better to the smooth side. So that's ready to go. Let's grab a stamp. Pop it on. So I can just pop my stamp where I want it. Pick it up with the lid and I'm ready to go. With Lisa's, let's move this out of the way. With Lisa's, it's more what I would consider a kind of traditional stamp platform. So with Lisa's, you would be swapping out your silicone mat and popping back in your foam mat. Let's bring it around. So the foam piece goes like so. You can then butt your cardstock. You've got a hard edge here, so you can pop your cardstock up against the hard edge, and you've got your magnets to hold it in place. Then you would grab your stamp and same thing. There we go. So then I would be ready to ink up my stamp, press it down, done. With the Sizzix tool, ink up your stamp, lift it down. Cling stamps. Lisa's tool has this foam mat as a separate thing. So if you were using cling stamps, which are obviously thicker, in Lisa's platform, you would just take out the foam insert, grab some cling stamps, pop your cling stamp where you want it. Let's take the clear one off. Bring that over and you're at the right height for stamping. With the Sizzix platform, there is no adapter inside this. So with the Sizzix platform, the gap between the base and the lid, there's no way to alter that. But you can still stamp with cling stamps. However, if I were to put this right at the top, because it's thick, I'm then going to end up with a bigger gap at the bottom, and that means I'd be putting more pressure on the top part of that stamp, and the bottom half might not stamp so well. So if you're using thicker stamps with the Sizzix platform, you're going to want to bring it further down. But of course, you've got a big A4 area to work with, so it's no big deal really. There's also no edge on this, so even if I wanted to stamp at the top, or wherever I want to stamp on this card, I can have it hanging off the bottom. If I want my butterflies in the middle of this card, then I can do that. I can put them wherever I want. Bring the lid down, ink it up, and you'll get a perfect, because if you look, the gap is no bigger now, just by placing them at the bottom. So you can use both clear stamps and cling stamps with both platforms. So that's a good overview, I think, of how they both work. So your choices really vary between how you want to hold your project in place. You've got the sticky grid with the Sizzix platform. Lisa's got this silicone mat, which kind of stops your project sliding. If you want to use Lisa's mat with the Sizzix tool, of course, you're not using the lid when you're stenciling. So the depth doesn't matter. So if you wanted to buy, Lisa sells these separately, if you like the idea of the silicone mat instead of the sticky grid, you could put a silicone mat in your Sizzix tool, pop the adapter on, and it's still going to work. Equally, if you like the sticky grid idea, leave your foam mat out and you can pop a sticky grid. Let's grab one. You can pop a sticky grid directly onto Lisa's platform. Let me show you how the sticky grids work actually. So you don't have to choose between these options. Both will work. So if I wanted to pop a sticky grid in Lisa's, I would just peel the backing off like so. Stick that in wherever I wanted it. You could push it, butt it up against those, stick it down. I won't actually stick it in. Then peel off my backing and you're good to go. So you could use the sticky grid in Lisa's if you like that option. So I hope that's helped you if you are trying to work out which one to buy. I hope I haven't confused you even more, or maybe even made you think you need both. In terms of price, actually, I should mention, they're both around about the £50 mark. So they're both a similar price. Both companies are on Create and Craft though. So you'll quite often find deals there where they're perhaps bundled with some stencils or stamps. So shop around, because both companies will have offers, and also different retailers obviously might have slightly different price points. So I will put links in the description box below to a few options to buy these, but definitely have a look around once you've decided which one is for you, and keep an eye out for deals. One thing I need to mention if you're in the States actually is about Lisa's, because this particular version is only available in the UK. In the States, because the Misty has a patent on this particular type of hinge, the Sizzix one's available in the States because the hinge is slightly different. Lisa has a different version in the States where it doesn't have this stamp platform element. You've got your base with these fabulous pegs, and what she's done is created a different version that has on the back a really handy scoring tool, and then it's got some storage inside the platform. So if you're in the States, check out Lisa's website, where you'll see the option that's available to you there. It's just a slightly different version because of that reason. This Sizzix tool is the same as is available worldwide. It's already available in the States. It's been out in the States for a few weeks actually. We're only just getting it this week in the UK, but it's already been out in the States for a few weeks. If you've got any questions about either tool, leave me a comment below on YouTube and I'll get back to you. I will also add details in the description box of different places you can buy these from, and any other useful info I might think of after I put this video together. Thanks for watching. Please also subscribe to my channel because I'm going to have some more videos on both of these tools coming up soon. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.